Whataways podcast. Okay, and there goes So Rob in a mushroom cloud. Okay, very cool.
Because sometimes you do one, you think it's gonna be a little one, and it's not a little one; it's a big one.
That was actually very. Oh no, we're not talking about mushroom cloud related stuff. I was hoping that could have been related.
We're gonna talk about the nuclear holocaust.
No, but that is in the pipeline.
How would it be in the pipeline? What does that have to do with what? How are you gonna ruin a nuclear war for me? I think. What do you?
Well, no, I'm not gonna ruin that. We're just gonna talk about it.
Do you have a plan in the apocalypse? Do you have a post-apocalypse?
Oh my gosh, I actually had a dream last night about needing to have a go bag ready.
You don't have a go bag ready?
No.
Can I tell you, you are a conservative. If you are putting a go bag together, you are
No.
a Republican.
No, in Parable of the Sower, she has a go bag.
In what?
The book Parable of a Sower.
What is
Parable
that?
of the Sower.
She's a go bag?
Yeah, she's a
Is
go
she in a
bag.
war-torn country?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
the state of the United States is like completely.
You know what? Can I tell you something? As someone who grew up in an actual war-torn country, shut the fuck up.
No.
Well, okay,
No, do you know the plot of Parable of
No.
the Sower? It's crazy because it's basically the author Octavia Butler is from Altadena where the fires happened. It's basically about the United States. It's in this year. It's 2024 to 2025, but she wrote it like back 80s or whenever. The government provides no support. Everyone has a gun. Everything is completely lawless. Everyone lives in these communities, but like everyone shoots one another. Fires are raging all over California.
Oh, no.
And then she has a go bag.
What's the book about? The book is about this state of the world.
Yeah. State of the United States.
In what year is it happening in the...
2024.
Oh, man.
It's
when was it
literally
written?
it's literally like it's like February 2025. The fires are worsening.
What year did she write the book?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think in the 80s. 80s or 90s.
I don't mean to be... I think I have a pet peeve about that, about people in America being like...
Oh no, things
it's
are
a third world country here.
What?
I
no,
hate when I
no, things are. No, we live
in
a life
abundance
of
and wealth.
absolute luxury. My big problem is that I don't know which the thing that paralyzes me for weeks is that I don't know which iPad case color to buy.
But clearly
fine.
you went with wine, so you went with
wine.
a great option.
I went with Merlot.
I bet you won.
Oh no, we're not war torn. I am concerned about the direction we're going in.
You dated a guy named Merlot.
No, but I would.
There's a guy in Evergreen State right now whose name is Merlot.
No, but I did room next to a guy named how am I blanking on his name?
Broccoli.
No.
String bean.
Well, I knew someone named Stone Hunter. The son of a commune owner. The son of a commune CEO.
Okay, shut up.
I knew commune nepo babies.
Were your parents hippies?
My parents were like business professional hippies. They were hippies in the way of like they're very spiritual and religious, and they were like trying to live very healthy, but my mom works in business and my dad worked for a university.
So
they were like intellectual
Gotcha.
hippies trying to do their best living in Oak Park, Illinois as capitalists.
I think hippies are the best PR people because I read a lot of Hunter S. Thompson, and he has these little like paragraphs that he'll write about how hippies were the worst because they're usually, and it's good to hear that your parents weren't hippies.
No,
but especially in the 70s, he made it sound like a lot of actual hippies were like their parents were rich, and they kind of adopted this faux lifestyle because it was in, because that's where the music, that's like the trajectory of where pop culture was going.
Yes.
So it was more of not only was it kind of shrouded in like coolness, but it was also like this kind of faux, I can fight the government because I have money.
Yes.
And I hate rich people because
they're like pretending to be poor,
right?
But it's because they have the security of falling back on something,
right?
Yeah.
But it's crazy because that didn't really stick. People, when they think hippies, they think like people who like take care of the earth for non-selfish reasons and stuff.
Yeah, no.
Which I don't think is the case.
No. I didn't. My parents absolutely would not self-identify as hippies, but they were like I didn't get environmentalism from them. I got them from like my aunt, and I went to a hippie preschool that didn't teach math or science until very, very late, but was focused a lot on magic and nature, and like I believe still in garden gnomes probably.
That shit's cool. Yeah, that shit's cool.
Yeah, no, a lot of puppetry, like yeah. A lot of sort of I'm illiterate sort of, but believe in the magic of the world.
Yeah.
But no, my parents were like, they're just very spiritual, so I think they were like interested in like spiritual living and healthy living.
Have you ever looked into eco-terrorism?
Yeah.
Not as a job. Not even like that. I wasn't like,
no,
hey,
as a job. I identify. Yeah, you're talking to one.
But actual eco-terrorism is fascinating.
Yeah.
Like the records of the stuff we have, because a lot of it's like dudes who were like Green Berets and like were sent on these crazy missions to kill, and then when they got out, they like went to live in the woods, and they started to like love nature, and then we're like,
I know people who are labeled as eco-terrorists who have like who have like shut down pipelines.
Oh, I love. But have they blown up pipelines?
I don't know anyone personally who's blown up pipelines, but I run in those circles for sure.
Don't cut that out.
No, I work for a very wholesome environmental nonprofit. There's no one blowing up pipelines.
You know of.
But when I volunteered in climate activism, there were a lot of there was some pipeline action.
Who's the dude? Unabomber. He's an eco. He was. I mean, his manifesto mentioned.
Please don't talk about my ex.
You should write him a letter.
I'm not interested.
Why? Write him a letter.
Yeah, he's the one who's getting married on the knot.
I wonder if he knows how popular he is in pop culture. I truly wonder that.
I would assume
that. I don't think he does. I think his brain is melted from being in the federal prison that he's in, because they threw the book at that guy. They did not make his life fun in prison. They put him in the same prison that the Boston Bomber's at, or he was. I mean, the Boston Bomber went to the same prison.
Oh, great! Yeah, give them a sense of community.
Well, they're. If you ever see the conditions that they're held in, it is terrifying.
Yeah, I'm sure. Probably at this point, he doesn't care if
he does. He has no human contact. He wouldn't even see He wouldn't see any other prisoners.
Really? What? He's in solitary?
Well, the prison that he's in is built for like terrorists. It's built for like high people who are smart enough to get out of. Like, essentially, that's what they say, is like, this is built to keep people in who we think would thrive in, like, if you put the Boston Bomber kid in a prison, he has something he fights for. He has a cause. He's charismatic. Well, they think.
Are you talking about Luigi?
No, the
Boston Bomber kid,
the marathon bomber.
Oh,
like you could. That's what the government claims, is they're like, he could potentially start prison insurrection or something because he has a cause. The Unabomber could too, so they put him in these like crazy prisons. But his brain's melted. He has no human contact. But Luigi knows. Luigi knows how popular he is. I don't think the Unabomber gets to know, which is so sad. I wish he did know.
Oh.
He could at least think that he did. He killed some innocent people.
Well, Unabomber, if you do have access to Spotify, please like and subscribe. We could really use a comment on Apple Podcasts. Okay, are you ready for today's?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got high and talked about the
Unabomber. No. That was great. We had to chat a little. Okay, so we're going over something you're familiar with. Bird deaths.
Oh, again? We're doing a two-parter on bird deaths?
Yeah, but this is different. But this is a positive. This has a happy ending. Okay, so we're going to talk about one of the deadliest nights for birds in recent history in Chicago, and it's not this weekend. On October 5th, 2023, nearly 1,000 birds lost their lives in a single night after colliding with the glass windows of McCormick Place Lakeside Center during their southbound migration. So Chicago is the most dangerous city for birds.
Oh, my God.
Every year, millions of migratory birds travel along the Mississippi Flyway, a major migration route that takes them over the Great Lakes and right through the city. But many of them never make it to their destinations. On average, between 1,000 and 2,000 birds die each year from just flying into McCormick Place. But on October 5th in 2023, an entire year's worth of deaths occurred
on one night, right?
On one night. So that Wednesday night saw the biggest migration event in a century. Between the evening of October 4th and the morning of October 5th, an estimated 1.5 million birds flew over Cook County, and weather conditions played a role. So birds had been held back by southern winds for days, and then when the wind shifted north, they all took off at once. So there were like an insane amount of birds going at once.
Could you imagine to be the first bird in that group to start it? That's got to be a magical.
To start hitting the glass.
No, to take off.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine being the first bird to
the Usain Bolt of the birds in the sky?
God, that's got to be just the craziest.
The leader.
Yeah.
That's a really beautiful thought.
Yeah, that is. There's a poem.
Yeah.
What is his name? Stone Thrower probably wrote a poem about that.
Stone Hunter. McCormick Place, with its massive glass walls and bright lights, became a death trap. Bird species like Tennessee warblers, hermit thrushes, and American woodcocks were among the casualties. Not every bird that hits a window dies immediately, so there are probably many that weren't even accounted for because some fly into it, get injured, and then die a few hours later when they're trying to fly. But McCormick Place also wasn't the only problem that night. Birds flew into buildings all across the city. So why do birds collide with buildings in the first place? Because they were here first.
Yeah, they were here first.
They were here first. And for thousands of years, they followed the same migration routes. And so it's not their fault because suddenly we've erected these cities with insanely tall buildings. And they don't recognize glass as a barrier. So they see reflections of the sky and trees and think they can fly right through it. An honest mistake. And even urban elements like glass bus shelters and walkways can cause collisions. And then bright lights at night attract the birds and distract them and disorient them. And it's a big problem. A 2019 report published in the journal Science found that North America had lost 2.9 million birds since 1970, which is a decline of 29%.
Okay, when you throw these numbers out, I'm telling you what goes through my tiny little head.
Okay.
I immediately get nervous that we lost 2% of the bird population in a matter
29.
29%.
Yeah.
We lost 29% of the bird population in a span of a few hours.
Not in a few hours.
Or what? In a span of a full year?
No. No. So 2.9 billion birds since 1970.
That's where I got that number.
Since 1970. Yeah.
So, okay. What percentage of the bird population do you think that one night in a McCormick affected? 1%? 1.5%?
You're throwing out challenges, I see.
But just a guesstimation.
I don't know. I don't know what the percent would be. It was just, it was basically
a year's worth of
birds.
Let's say 1%. Let's say we lose 1% of the bird population.
Of all birds.
Of all birds. And let's say even one species, the American, was it the woodcock?
Yeah.
Let's say it's just the woodcock. Can we do anything with science and what we know about birds to make up for that 1%? Can we get them to lay more eggs? Don't we have that? Aren't we doing that stuff in nature? Aren't we when something is not,
But
when there's too many deer, we shoot them, and then when there's not enough, we get them to hump.
I feel like that's what humans think we can do all the time is fuck something up and then do some science to make up for it, but then it leads to other consequences. It's like Gavin Newsom with the fish thing, and then leading to the wildfires, which we will cover. That's a little teaser for the next one. Okay, so light reduction is one of the easiest and most effective solutions.
But they can't turn the lights off in McCormick Place.
Well, so they've just started doing it.
They did. They started doing it.
That's one of.
Is that the happy?
That's one of the happy.
Because the last time we talked, you said because they have so many goddamn events there that they can never turn the lights off.
Yeah.
It's also one of the ugliest buildings we have.
It's very ugly. And so McCormick Center, if you don't know, it hosts conventions. The DNC was partly hosted there, probably some
the NRA
furry conventions.
But
no, that's at Rosemont.
Not the NRA, National Rifle Association. It's the National Restaurant Association. Which you would think they would probably.
They should change.
They should change their name. Yeah.
But maybe they just want the Google hits. What is it? NRA.edu. How do they even have what's their website?
I don't know.
NRA.org is the regular one.
Well, if as a member of the NRA, I don't want any more confusion. It's hard enough to get to their website as it is.
The Rifle Association.
Yes, it's hard. So that's good news. They're gonna at least have it off.
Yeah. So turning off or dimming unnecessary lights during migration can save countless birds.
Is the timing of them doing it sync up when migration is heavy, so it actually makes sense?
Yes. So let me just go straight to the good news. So here's the good news. So basically, while this was all happening, when we covered this originally, McCormick Place was still leaving their lighting decisions to event organizers. So that was the problem. So the thing is, Chicago has a lights out program, which started in 1995, which encourages building owners to turn off lights from 11 p.m. to sunrise during peak migration periods. And more than 90% of downtown buildings over 20 stories tall participate. But McCormick Place was leaving it to event organizers. Some other buildings in the city take extra steps. So like the FBI building adds netting during migration seasons to catch birds before they hit windows.
That's cute. I mean, they killed Malcolm X, but they at least put up.
At least they put up a little bird net, and that made up for it.
They're hunt murderers too.
Yeah, they're yeah.
I watch Mindhunter. They're doing stuff.
So the good news is that McCormick Place, they took action and they have reduced bird collisions by over 95%, following the installation of bird-safe window film last summer. Have you
ever been in McCormick?
Yeah, I saw Bernie give a speech there.
But have you ever been there for work?
For my work?
For any kind of work, either.
Yes, I got COVID there.
Really?
Yeah, I had to go put up a table for my work at a finance convention, and the minute I walked in the building, I got COVID.
You got sick. Yeah.
It was finance bros from all around the world. I am sick as a dog.
And you felt really sick.
Yeah, like a few days later, I tested positive.
I've spent intimate amounts of time, and I know that building intimately because of the amount of time I've spent there. Because I worked for a company that had a booth there for the Sweets and Snacks Expo, so I did that for 3 years, setting the booth up. I've spent so many hours. I hate that building.
I've been there a good amount. I've been to some like conferences there. I went to that finance convention.
Yeah,
it's definitely a convention vibe.
Finding out that it's responsible for the death of all these birds, I already hate that building so much.
Yeah, you have enough beef.
Just the death the ego death you feel when you pull into that parking lot to work a fucking 8-hour day.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate that place.
The people you meet.
It's also just so ugly.
It's very ugly. It's huge. It's huge.
We've talked about the last time we talked about this. I think we even pitched a company that puts like big scary birds on windows.
Well, that's what I think they don't recommend big bird decals. But what they do recommend, and this is what McCormick Center did, is they put bird-safe film over 120,000 square feet of glass, which is a dotted pattern that enhances visibility for the birds.
Oh, okay.
It was a $1.2 million project. They also close the blinds every night and turn off unnecessary exterior lights, along with in the Lights Out program now, which reduces light pollution.
Lights Out program sounds like an R&B song.
Every night's a Lights Out program for me. when I go to bed at 10 p.m. covered in Vaseline.
We can't put big scary birds on the windows because then the birds it'll affect their evolution. Because then
try to have sex with the windows.
They'll try to have sex with the windows, or they will notice that the birds are big and scary, and then they will evolve into big scarier birds who will beat us up and steal our seed.
That's the power of the mind.
Steal our seed. Yeah. Not our bird seed.
I think I honestly can't remember exactly why they say not to do that, but they say don't put. Wait, let's see. You can also make your windows. Oh, I guess they say you can put decals. I remember reading somewhere that they maybe said don't put like pictures of birds. But if you do find an injured bird, you can call the Chicago Bird Collision Monitors because they're the ones who are finding all the ducks. And until help arrives, place the bird in a clean, unwaxed paper bag or a small box lined with paper towels. Keep it in a quiet, dark place away from extreme temperatures. Do not feed the bird and do not poke holes in the bag. It needs to stay calm.
Actually, I think if you or anyone else finds a dead bird, you need to call 708.
No, we're redacting.
If you find an injured bird, dial the number I just gave 24/7.
Elliot, I need some help. Honking out that number.
One more time. That's 708. Not even birds. You find any kind of injured animal, you give that number a call.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Lucia will be there in a matter of minutes.
If it means I can make a new friend along the way.
Absolutely. Between and not just Chicagoland area, Madison, Wisconsin, Indianapolis.
Specifically Madison.
Would you do that though? Let's say you came across.
No, I'm not. I'm very squeamish. I'm not good with death. dead animals.
What about like an injured animal?
Yeah, I'd be open to it.
Yeah.
I'd be open to helping. The Chicago Bird Collision Monitors, they're volunteers, and they recover 10,000 birds each year. So they're out here in the streets finding birds. They sound like the absolute sweetest human beings to walk the face of the earth.
I mean, I just want to. We should get one on the podcast.
We should. We absolutely should.
I wonder how you would even find that.
I know some.
Of
course, I know some. Yeah.
Do you think birds have?
I'm deep in the birding community. You think I'm not, but I'm very. I run in.
You run in with the birders?
I run in with the birders.
Season's coming up, baby.
Okay, wait. This is actually a very relevant way to end. I'm not going to keep mentioning weird dates I've had, but it's just come up in this episode. So I went on a date with a birder, and on his profile, it said he's friends with an astronaut. And I was like, okay, that's the last I'll ever hear of that, probably. And then, and then we go on the date, and he keeps talking about his friend who's an astronaut. And I was like, and he kept, it's a female astronaut.
Very rare.
It's a female
there's like
astronaut.
6 in the world.
He's like, she's called him from space. He starts talking about how once
That's not, I'm being facetious. There's way more than 6 female astronauts.
Yeah, probably. But he keeps talking about how she called him from space, and then he starts talking about how he was talking about her to his friend, and his friend was like, "You're in love with her," and he was like, "No, I'm not." And we're on a first date, and I'm like, what?
He's in love with her.
Yeah, I was like, "You're clearly in love with this astronaut."
She's an astronaut.
She's an astronaut. She's married.
Of course she is. She's an astronaut. So she's going to be single?
I'm like, I'm not the main character of this date.
The astronaut is.
The astronaut is. And I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this. But he did say he was a birder, so I was like, I'll give it a second date.
Did she go into space?
I don't know.
Podcast. She's becoming the main character of this podcast.
Yeah, I know. So then we don't talk for like. I go to the Jersey Shore. I go to the Jersey Shore. I go on vacation, and like 2 weeks later, I get a text from him. It's while the Olympics are happening. I'm in New Jersey, and I get a text, and it's like, "Hey, so a friend just reminded me that once my astronaut friend the opportunity
the astronaut
had an opportunity to hang out with Simone Biles, but she's
hanging out with Simone Biles?
No, but she chose to hang out with me instead. Anyway, that reminded me of our conversation. Hope you're doing well.
What conversation could you possibly had that related to an astronaut and Simone Biles?
The one where he talked about the astronaut the entire time we went on a first date.
He needs to get his own accomplishments. He is vicariously living through, but also I figured you'd support women in STEM. I'm surprised that you don't.
Yeah, but not this guy. This guy's not a woman in STEM.
She is, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I support them. Yeah, so I didn't continue seeing them. I supported her so he can break up their marriage. They can have the love story that they've always deserved.
How many astronauts do you know? 1.
0. Well, yeah, now by proxy, 1. I'm a few degrees away.
I feel like there's only probably about, how many astronauts in the United States? 40? What percentage of them are women? 20?
Yeah.
It's like,
it's an amazing story.
It's an amazing story.
It's an amazing story, and I'm so grateful I got to hear it. Elliot, I will need help just bleeping out the name of that astronaut.
I actually don't like the fact that her name's.
You have to stop saying the name.
Whatever. It's like, oh, what's your name? And you're gonna meet an alien, and it's gonna be like, "Hi, I'm Linda," and you're like, "No, let's get somebody else.
Yeah,
let's get a sexy name in there."
But anyway, he was a birder.
Of course, he was. His name was Stonemason,
and he's here. He comes from there. Got him as a guest. Anyway, no, we will have the birding community on because I'm actually surprised every single episode we've done so far is about birds, even the ones that we have not published.
I love birds.
Yeah, you love birds. And I love that. It's been a great entry. Birds are so important.
I wrote a bunch of bird jokes after our first time.
Did you?
Yeah. About how you can tell which animals Christian God made. Because they make sense, like normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can tell what animals like the weird religions made. Like a emu. Like that wasn't the Christian God.
Which religion's that?
I don't know. Some weird. One of the weird Eastern ones. Buddhism. Buddha made the emu.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense.
I'm not going to say yes or no.
Have you seen an emu? An emu doesn't make... Could you imagine an emu running into McCormick Place?
No.
On its feet? Like just going 30 miles an hour?
I can't speak to the intelligence of emus.
They're very dumb.
Are they?
Yeah, emus and ostriches are big idiots.
Yeah, is it like emus, ostriches, and llamas?
Llamas?
I feel like an emu is similar to a llama.
No, emu is 2 feet. It's got like bird feet and like wings that it can't
Saying
use.
emu so much is starting to freak me out. So anyway, birds are a really important part of the ecosystem, and you should turn if you are the building manager of a really big building in Chicago,
turn your lights off.
You should turn your lights off.
Or open your windows and flap aggressively.
Yes. Yeah, or scream during the migration period.
Or honk your horn for 8 hours.
Honk your horn. This was great.
All the birds you saved by honking that horn?
Yeah.
You changed the migration habits of birds.
Yeah, wait. Is there a coincidence that my horn honked for that long and then 100 birds fell from the sky the next week?
Oh, no. Yeah, probably.
No, I don't think so. Okay. Thank you for listening to What a Waste podcast. And we'll see you again soon. Oh, wait. I don't know why I did that.
What were you doing?
I went like that.
Do we do this?